My maid impersonated me and secretly fell for Li Mo Bai, who was staying at the Prime Minister's residence, conceiving a child in the process. After Li Mo Bai passed the imperial examination as top scholar, he came to propose marriage at the Prime Minister's residence. My father agreed. In despair, the maid threw herself into a well, taking both her own life and the unborn child. On our wedding night, Li Mo Bai discovered I was not the woman he loved. He investigated discreetly, believing I had driven the maid to her death out of jealousy. Over the next decade, he rose through the ranks using the Prime Minister's influence. While outwardly tender toward me, he turned on me when the Prime Minister's household was implicated in a treason plot. He betrayed me, causing my father's unjust death and the exile of my entire family. Under his torment, I was thrown into a frozen pond during the harshest winter to drown. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day he came to the Prime Minister's residence to propose. Main text: the bone-chilling cold and the suffocating sensation of near death still lingered within me. My face was pale, my teeth chattering slightly. I stared silently at the fresh, youthful face in the mirror, plotting how to kill Li Mo Bai. I knew he would come to propose today. He made a grand show of it, ensuring everyone knew. People said the newly crowned top scholar had fallen for the minister's daughter at first sight, a match made in heaven. In truth, the one who captured his heart was Jingke, the maid by my side. Li Mo Bai and my Nan family shared a distant, convoluted kinship. Thus, during his journey to the capital for the imperial examinations, he lodged at the Prime Minister's residence. My father, valuing talent, treated him with courtesy. My eldest brother had also mentioned him to me, saying he possessed the caliber of a top scholar. Jingke hatched a scheme, impersonating me to draw near him time and again. They soon fell deeply in love, even conceiving a child. I harbored no affection for Li Mo Bai, yet recognized this as a favorable match. A young top scholar, already gifted, with my father's backing, his future was boundless. Moreover, my family was impoverished, with only an elderly mother to support. We depended on the Prime Minister's household for everything, and no one dared cause me grief. So when my parents asked, I consented to the match. But this time, when Chen, the matron by mother's side, sought me out, she said, "Master Li seeks to marry Miss Jingke, the maid attending you. The lady has left the decision to you." I knew immediately that Li Mo Bai had returned. Jingke had taken 3 days of sick leave, but in truth, her pregnancy was unstable. Daring not to exert herself, she remained bedridden all day, missing her chance to explain to Li Mo Bai. I took Auntie Chen to the side room to find her. At this stage, her pregnancy wasn't visible yet, only her complexion looked poor. I said, "The newly crowned top scholar wishes to marry you." Her face lit up with surprise, then flushed with shy confusion as she avoided my eyes. She feared I'd press her about her past with Li Mo Bai. But I asked nothing. I had another maid, Ming Chan, help her dress and accompany her to the front hall to receive the guest. When Li Mo Bai saw her, he froze for a moment, then his eyes reddened. He hadn't seen her in 10 years. When his gaze shifted back to me, it had turned to pure hatred. My own hatred was no less intense. I'd considered hiding it, but seeing him brought back every oppressive memory from my past life. My father was beheaded. My mother died of illness during exile. My elder brother lost a leg. My sister-in-law took her own life to preserve her honor. One nephew died, the other was gravely injured. My family shattered, my kin destroyed, all at the hands of Li Mo Bai. My heart brimmed with hatred, surging and uncontrollable. Li Mo Bai froze, and I knew he had seen through me. But I didn't care. I said, "Jingke is a servant of the Nan household. I wonder when the top scholar took a fancy to her. But a gentleman should facilitate such matters. Since the top scholar wishes to marry her, I, as her master, have no reason to refuse." I returned Jing's indenture to her. "You are free." Tears welled up in Jing's eyes, moved to the core. Li Mo Bai's expression was complex. He bowed to me with clasped fists, preparing to leave. "Wait," I called out. Li Mo Bai turned back, wary. A servant led Dr. Huang through the doorway. I pointed at Jingke. "Dr. Huang, please take this young lady's pulse." Jingke panicked, hiding behind Li Mo Bai. He shot me a look of disappointment and disgust. It's unnecessary. My mother saw through the situation and ordered 2 sturdy maidservants to hold Jinkei down. Fearing harm to her unborn child, Jinkei dared not struggle and could only allow Dr. Huang to take her pulse, her lovely face turning deathly pale. The fetal condition seems somewhat unstable, but it's not serious. I'll prescribe some pregnancy-stabilizing medicine, Dr. Huang said. My mother flew into a rage. You shameless creature. Jinkei, both ashamed and frightened, flushed crimson and instinctively knelt to apologize. Li Mo Bai pulled her up. You are no longer a servant of the Prime Minister's household. You need not kneel before them. He added, Lady Nan, Jinkei is my betrothed. Please watch your words. He still believed himself the Crown Prince's confidant, a close minister to the new emperor, expecting everyone to defer to him. My mother, enraged, smashed a cup. My father shot him a cold glance. The top scholar sure has some nerve lecturing the wife of this Prime Minister's household. Li Mo Bai's expression stiffened. He snapped back to reality. Besides the unstable pregnancy, are there any other issues? I asked. Dr. Huang shook his head. None. I fixed Li Mo Bai with my gaze. Mark my words, your fiancé leaves this residence in perfect health. Should she meet her end or become crippled afterward, don't dare blame my household. Furthermore, a maid of this residence who consorts with outsiders without a matchmaker can be executed outright by law. In other words, I could kill Jinkei openly and justifiably, no need to secretly drive her to death. Li Mo Bai understood, his expression wavering. My father ordered Li Mo Bai to leave. As he departed, he crossed paths with Zhao Xijia, who had rushed over. Zhao Xijia urgently shouted, Uncle Nan, don't rush to betroth Jinping to Li Mo Bai. Consider me. His expression darkened, and he stopped in his tracks. Zhao Xijia was the young master of the Duke of Cheng'en's household, the Empress's nephew, and we'd known each other since childhood. With 2 elder brothers and a sister above him, he was spoiled rotten by his entire family. Though he was a spoiled, arrogant playboy, he wasn't entirely uneducated. This time, he'd even placed 37th in the 2nd tier of the imperial examinations after making a bet with someone. For the sons of noble families, official rank wasn't the goal. He just needed to prove he wasn't a complete failure. After that, he'd go back to his usual ways. In my past life, when he came to propose, I had already pledged myself to Li Mo Bai. Yet privately, I weighed the options. This match with the Duke of Cheng'en's household seemed favorable, kind elders, harmonious siblings, and Zhao Xijia was the sort of man who'd indulge you in leisure and protect you from storms. And indeed, that proved to be the case. After my family's misfortune, he shed his idle ways. He secured an official post for our household and tirelessly lobbied on our behalf. Later, it was he who uncovered the crucial evidence that overturned my father's conviction, clearing the Nan family's name. Such immense kindness could scarcely be repaid even with my life. My eyes stung. Zhao Xijia froze. Wait, are you crying from shock or joy? I burst out laughing. You silly goose. Young Master Li is courting Jinkei. Why the rush? Zhao Xijia froze again, casting an incredulous glance at Li Mo Bai. After a long pause, he managed, Brother Li truly has unique taste. Li Mo Bai's expression darkened further. My marriage to Zhao Xijia was finalized. While I was out, Li Mo Bai seized an opportunity to speak with me. In our past life, you paid the price for killing Jinkei. We're even now. In this life, as long as you don't harm Jinkei and keep yourself in check, I won't target your Nan family again. Zhao Xijia may not be an ideal match, but she's more than sufficient for you. Forget me. Live well with her. Put away those malicious thoughts. Stop trying to make things difficult for Jinkei. As for exposing her pregnancy and humiliating her, I'll overlook it this time because you returned her indenture. But if you persist in your wicked ways, don't blame me for being ruthless. He stood aloof, his face hard and cruel, his eyes cold as icy arrows, exactly as he had been in our past life when he tore ties with me. Back then, he wore shoe brocade robes, jade boots, and priceless jade pendants at his waist. Even the ivory hairpins he casually used were rare treasures. Now, he was clad in a faded sky blue robe, not a single valuable item on his person. Half a man's authority and presence is built upon his outward appearance. He resembled a powerless madman, utterly oblivious that he now possessed nothing, no bargaining chips whatsoever to negotiate with me. I watched him silently. We are not even. He sighed, calling me by my maiden name, Jinping. Why must you do this? I never loved a woman like you, spoiled and ignorant. Jin K told me everything. Your literary fame was built by her and Ming Chan. I suppose you knew about Jin K and me in our past life too, yet you deliberately went along with the deception to marry me, driving her to her death. Never mind. You've been my wife for 10 years, that should be enough. He truly was blind in both eyes and heart. In my past life, Jin K not only impersonated me but secretly copied my poems and verses. My Qin compositions, my paintings, even the unfinished chess games I played with my eldest brother, she appropriated them all as her own. Li Mo Bai, deceived by her, believed her to be a talented woman. That was understandable. But now that the truth is out, he still lets her lead him by the nose with a few words. Isn't that sheer stupidity? Li Mo Bai, I stared into his eyes, my face as cold as ice, my father, my mother, my sister-in-law, and my nephew, 4 lives. You can't just say we're even and make it so. And the child in my womb. For pregnancies over 10 years, for miscarriages, until I could bear no more. And he dared call this even? I sneered. Li Mo Bai, you and I, this is a matter of life and death. My father certainly disliked Li Mo Bai, but I poured fuel on the fire. This man is cunning and morally flawed. When he sought to marry my maid, he could have acted discreetly, yet he made a grand spectacle of it, ensuring everyone knew. Everyone assumed he was courting the Prime Minister's daughter, only to end up marrying her maid. Without Cizé, I'd have become the laughingstock of all Duanjing. As the emperor's personally selected top scholar, he shouldn't behave so disgracefully, yet he did. Your daughter suspects he's sided with your political enemies. Father, you must be cautious. My father took it to heart. I repeated much the same to the crown prince, using a tone of complaint and bewilderment. He immediately formed a poor impression of Li Mo Bai. The crown prince is Zhao Xija's cousin, so we're somewhat acquainted. Learning of my betrothal to Zhao Xija, he expressed delight. You should thank Li Mo Bai. Without him, Xija wouldn't have rushed to propose. He added, Xija, what do you desire? I'll present you with a gift as a congratulatory offering. Zhao Xija was blunt, your hot spring estate on the outskirts of the capital. The crown prince was stunned by his audacity. Do you know how much that estate is worth? He replied sheepishly, Jinping fears the cold. Yes, I am sensitive to the cold. Li Mo Bai knew this too, which is why he chose the method I dreaded most to send me to my death. Li Mo Bai and Jin K's wedding was set for late June. It was rushed, but there was no choice. Delaying any longer would make the pregnancy impossible to conceal. Just as his wedding to me in my past life had been lavish and grand, his wedding to Jin K in this life was equally bleak and desolate. The newly crowned top scholar should have been in high demand, but everyone knew he'd offended the chancellor. No one was willing to antagonize the chancellor for a young man with an uncertain future. Moreover, the top scholar should have been appointed to the Hanlin Academy. Yet for some reason, while the second and third place scholars received their posts, Li Mo Bai was left without any imperial decree. Their wedding was held in a rented courtyard belonging to the Li family. The space was modest, but Li Mo Bai spared no expense. He hired an outside catering troupe, charging 5 taels of silver per table. He set up 10 tables and even borrowed space from neighbors. In the end, not a single official attended. The neighbors filled 2 tables. Rumor had it Li Mo Bai's face darkened from head to toe. He believed my father had sabotaged the occasion, ambushing me again while I was at the jeweler's. After 10 years of marriage, he knew me all too well. Do you think I rose to high office in my past life because of your father? He spat angrily. The crown prince favored me because our political views aligned, our interests converged, and I possessed genuine talent to aid his governance. He sneered at me, ignorant woman, with your narrow-mindedness, you think this can stop me? In my past life, he was recommended by my father and gained the crown prince's favor through a policy essay. My father mentored him personally, and he was willing to endure hardships, quickly rising to prominence. He was right about one thing, he truly possessed genuine talent and ability. But so what? I called out to the shopkeeper, "Why is a beggar allowed inside?" He was thrown out, his face flushed crimson with rage. Li Mo Bai never managed to see the crown prince. Even with his extraordinary talent, even with his brilliant policy essay, his lowly status meant he couldn't possibly meet His Highness without a recommendation. Yet I still underestimated him. He ingratiated himself with the chief eunuch, Deng Rushing, not only adopting him as his godfather but also promising that Jing's firstborn son would bear Deng's surname and be raised under his care. Li Mo Bai's 60-year-old mother fell ill from the shock, while Jing Ke supported him. His policy essay finally reached the crown prince's desk as he'd hoped, but the crown prince didn't read it, he had it discarded. The crown prince despised him. Adopting a eunuch as father, selling his own child, utterly lacking in scholarly integrity. Deng Russian then secured Li Mo Bai a minor 7th-rank official post. Though lowly, the prestige of the chief eunuch meant many families still sought his company. When the old lady of the Sui family, general of the Army of Valor, celebrated her 70th birthday, they were invited. At the banquet, I saw Jing Ke. Her belly was already showing, clad in a loose, pale green ruchuan. The fabric wasn't particularly fine, but the golden phoenix hairpin adorning her hair was the one I had once bestowed upon her. When she noticed my gaze, a faint blush spread across her cheeks. Whispers circulated. Who knows what the new top scholar was thinking, marrying a mere maid? Exactly. She's not even that pretty, and her demeanor is awful, so timid and shrinking. Look at her clothes. Even my maids don't wear that kind. Some even called out directly to her, "Hey, aren't you going to pay your respects to your master?" These people looked down on Jing Ke, and they envied her. Li Mo Bai was exceptionally talented and strikingly handsome. Whether in this life or the last, many had set their sights on him. No one could have imagined he would ultimately marry a lowly maid. Jing Ke kept her head bowed, her fingers nervously twisting the hem of her skirt. Then, as if she could bear it no longer, she glanced up at me quickly before rising and walking over. "Miss, I know you envy me," her eyes reddened, "but you shouldn't incite these people to insult me like this. I am, after all, the wife of the top scholar." I found it amusing. "Why would I envy you? My husband ranked first in the imperial examinations, while yours came in 37th in the second tier. You're of noble birth, while I'm merely a maid. My husband surpasses yours, so naturally you feel resentful." Her logic was peculiar. I chuckled. "You're overthinking it. Though the top scholar is impressive, he's hardly a rare commodity. Since our dynasty's founding, our celestial empire has produced 56 top scholars. In 3 years, another will join their ranks. You needn't assume everyone covets such a man. Besides, I appraised her from head to toe, a smirk curling my lips. I couldn't endure a life of hardship." The room erupted in laughter. Jing Ke couldn't hold back her tears. She sobbed and tried to run away. Swain Wan grabbed her just in time, glaring at me. "Shut up. Stop stirring trouble in my house. She's carrying a child, you know." As the niece of the general of martial valor, she and I had never gotten along. She'd always competed with me for the title of the capital's foremost scholar. It wasn't necessarily to defend Jing Ke, she was just seizing every chance to provoke me. Yet my eyes stung, and my tone softened involuntarily. "Fine. For your sake, I won't hold it against her." Swain Wan looked at me as if I'd lost my mind. "Nan Jinping, have you lost your mind? In my past life, the Sui family, like ours, the Nan family, was swept up in the treason case. The difference was, the Sui family wasn't innocent. Swain Wan's eldest uncle, General Jinwu, had truly colluded with Princeton. When Princeton stormed the capital, he opened the gates wide. Later, when Prince An's forces were defeated, General Jinwu was shot dead by arrows, and the entire Sui family was executed. But because Swain Wan bore a resemblance to Jing Ke, Li Mo Bai saved her and brought her into his inner quarters. While she appeared hostile toward me, she secretly aided me on multiple occasions. When I was near death from illness, Li Mo Bai refused to summon a physician. It was she who deliberately made herself ill, seizing the chance to obtain medicine from the doctor. When Li Mo Bai threw me into the icy pond, she threw herself in to save me. Held back by Li Mo Bai, she shouted at me, "Nan Jinping, hold on. Zhao Xija has already overturned your family's conviction. Your eldest brother is returning to the capital soon. You absolutely must not die. If you die, who will I fight against in the future? But I still died. I couldn't hold on. I stood up, and Jing Kai instinctively took a step back. I ignored her and embraced Swain Wan instead. I hereby declare you the foremost literary talent in the capital. I, Nan Jinping, humbly concede my defeat. Swain Wan shivered. Nan Jinping, don't do this. I'm scared. Jing Kai left before the banquet ended. I chased after her, but she warily kept her distance. What do you want? She asked, shielding her stomach. I smiled softly. Have you noticed how much you resemble Swain Wan? Though Swain Wan is more beautiful than you, more refined, more talented, and comes from a better family. But I hear the Sui elders don't think much of Li Mo Bai. The color drained from her face. You're trying to drive a wedge between us. You can ask Li Mo Bai yourself, I said. She fled in panic, tears welling in her eyes. I knew she wouldn't go. She was merely a maid sold by her parents to a slave trader, a defector from her former household. Beyond Li Mo Bai, she had no one to rely on. Regardless of whether my words were true, she dared not confront Li Mo Bai. She would only watch from the shadows, eventually discovering that Li Mo Bai truly treated Swain Wan differently. A woman's mind is restless during pregnancy, she magnifies every tiny clue. She'd never find peace. Human energy is finite. Li Mo Bai would have to comfort and care for her, leaving less attention for other matters. I turned, and Swain Wan was standing behind me, frowning. What did you say to her? She looks like she's seen a ghost. Nothing. You seem off today. I didn't explain, only murmured, your uncle seems to be associating with someone. Have your father keep an eye on him. She stared at me in terror. I gripped her hand, my expression grave. This concerns your entire family's lives. Keep this secret. That was all I could say. The rest depended on their luck. Swain Wan was terrified and went to find her father almost immediately. 2 months later, the Sui brothers turned against each other. Rumor had it General Sui had schemed to arrange Swain Wan's marriage. Though it failed, the two families fell into bitter conflict. Not only did they split the household, but they vowed never to speak again. I was deeply relieved. Swain Wan's father was a shrewd man. Living under the same roof as General Sui, he would inevitably pick up on clues if he paid attention. Better to cut the knot cleanly now than face the consequences later, and avoid the fate that had befallen me in my previous life. Swain Wan arranged to meet me at Drunken Immortal Pavilion and presented me with an expensive set of jewelry. My father says this is a token of gratitude. I accepted without hesitation. Her attitude toward me had shifted, she was now willing to share her innermost thoughts. That Li Mo Bai, I don't know what's with him. Every time he sees me, his eyes get all weird. Once he even called me Nuan Nuan, and my brother yelled him off. Swain Wan's father served as a lecturer at the Hanlin Academy. The Crown Prince greatly enjoyed his lectures on classics and history, and Li Mo Bai likely sought to follow in his footsteps. After all, his efforts with his godfather, Deng Rushan, had yielded little result. He hadn't gained the Crown Prince's favor despite his high position, and he simply didn't have the patience to wait years. Suddenly, a commotion erupted from the house across the street. The voices sounded familiar. Swain Wan and I opened the door to find none other than Li Mo Bai and Zhao Xija. It turned out Li Mo Bai had somehow tracked down the Crown Prince's whereabouts and followed him to the Drunken Immortal Pavilion. The guards at the door refused to announce him, leading to a confrontation between the two. Hearing the commotion inside, the Crown Prince instructed Zhao Xija to handle it. Zhao Xija had never been fond of Li Mo Bai and was ready to fight after barely exchanging words. But upon seeing me appear, he immediately restrained himself. Jinping's sister, you're here for dinner too? His expression changed like a mask. The stern look from moments ago vanished, replaced by a smile as warm as a spring breeze. Their roasted squab is especially delicious. You absolutely must try it. He still had the nerve to chat about food with me. Swain Wan casually replied, all right, we'll order later. Today, I'm treating you, Jinping. Whatever you think is good, just say it. Zhao Xijia actually listed a few dishes. Li Mo Bai, fueled by alcohol and boiling rage, boldly declared, I said I want to see His Highness. Zhao Xijia sneered, do you think His Highness meets just any Tom, Dick, or Harry? Get out of here. Don't interrupt my conversation with Sister Jinping. Li Mo Bai's fury now burned toward me. Nan Jinping, did you say something to His Highness? After reading my policy proposal, His Highness couldn't possibly refuse to see me. It must be you, harboring resentment, slandering me before His Highness. Swain Wan stared at him in disbelief. What are you talking about? How is this related to Jinping? Li Mo Bai's expression softened only for her. Nguan. Miss Sui, stay away from Nan Jinping. She's malicious, lacking in both talent and virtue, consumed by jealousy. You surpass her in every way. One day, she'll harm you. Swain Wan flushed crimson with anger. Are you out of your mind? I wasn't the least bit upset. Li Mo Bai's loss of composure only proved his own mental collapse. But that wasn't enough. I asked, what essay? The one His Highness ordered destroyed? Zhao Xijia replied, I suppose so. Not entirely sure, but if Sister Jinping says it's gone, then it's gone. Even if it wasn't, I'd have His Highness destroy it anyway. Our eyes met, and I smiled at him tenderly. Li Mo Bai lost his mind with rage. Nan Jinping, don't push your luck. Didn't I warn you against playing tricks? You don't hold me in any regard at all. He'd completely mixed up past and present, thinking he was still the high and mighty minister of power, while my family destroyed, my home lost, was at his mercy to bully. He raised his hand to strike me. Truthfully, he couldn't have hit me. The moment he moved, Zhao Xijia swiftly kicked him. Still, I let out a cry and tumbled down. Landing near the stairs, I rolled down them. I wasn't seriously hurt, but my forehead was gashed, blood streaming down my face, a truly shocking sight. Zhao Xijia was quick-witted, seizing the initiative. Li Mo Bai, you have the audacity to attempt murder in public against the daughter of the Grand Tutor. His voice boomed so loudly half the tavern heard it. Before Li Mo Bai could protest, Zhao Xijia grabbed him like a chicken and flung him out the second-floor window. I recuperated at home for over half a month. My father tearfully denounced Li Mo Bai's wicked deeds before the emperor. The Duke of Chenen's household followed suit, and Swain Wan's father added insult to injury. Several censors joined the impeachment campaign. Finally, the crown prince declared, this youth's character is so vile he is unworthy to be the son of heaven's disciple. Thus, the emperor stripped Li Mo Bai of his top scholar title and the hard-won official position. Li Mo Bai became the first top scholar in the empire's history to have his honors revoked, achieving a rather infamous place in history. I hadn't expected Li Mo Bai to still want to see me. I brought a martial arts-trained maid, instructing her, if Li Mo Bai harms me, kill him outright. But Li Mo Bai lacked the audacity. Zhao Xijia had thrown him from the second floor of an inn, shattering his leg. Without timely medical care, he was now crippled. Limping, he approached me, still clad in that faded sky-blue robe, its cuffs patched. Jinping, he said, his face gaunt, his beard unkempt, his frame noticeably thinner, no trace remained of the former top scholar's spirited vigor. I misjudged people and was deceived. Jing Ke has been lying to me all along. She knows only a few characters, cannot compose poetry or paint, nor play the zither. The one I've always loved is you. Jing's lies deceived him for a time, but not forever. Living side by side day after day, the truth inevitably surfaced. I know you still care for me. Using Wan to drive a wedge between us proves you still cherish me. Jinping, he called my name with deep affection, you've already cost me my official career. Surely your anger has cooled by now. I promise you, I will marry you. I will marry you willingly. We will live well together. I will make you a first-rank noble consort, the envy of all Duanjing. Men, their confidence sometimes truly makes me envious. I watched him speechless. What about Jing Ke? Seeing my response, he beamed with delight and immediately declared, she deceived me into marriage first. By not divorcing her, I've already shown her mercy. Considering her pregnancy, I'll keep her as a concubine. After all, she served you before, she can continue serving you now. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Li Mo Bai, in my past life, you endured 10 years of suffering to avenge Jing Ke. I truly believed your affection for her was as deep as the ocean and as high as the mountains. Yet, it turns out it was nothing more than this. For the sake of wealth and prestige, you actually want to demote your wife to a concubine. Ha! How laughable! Do you take me for some cheap woman? You're a commoner, penniless. What makes you think I'd abandon the son of the honored minister's household for you? His face drained of color, shifting between pale and ashen. I pressed on, goading him. Didn't you claim your rise to power wasn't thanks to our prime minister's household? Now you see, you're nothing but a freeloader. Without our household, you're a nobody. This is the extent of your life. As long as our household stands, you'll never reach the crown prince's side. You'll never rise above your station. Li Mo Bai stayed out of sight for a long time after that. Until Princeton entered the capital. Princeton was the youngest brother of the current emperor, only 4 years older than the crown prince. Compared to the crown prince's diligence and scholarly pursuit, he seemed like a cautionary tale, neither skilled in literature nor martial arts. He spent his days indulging in feasting, drinking, and revelry, causing several scandalous incidents. But all of this was a facade. In my previous life, no one had ever glimpsed his wolfish ambitions until he raised his banner in rebellion. Prince N's fief was in Anyang. He was forbidden to enter the capital without summons, except during the new year when, following ancestral custom, he would accompany his mother, Consort Mu, for 2 to 3 months. He shared a deep bond with Consort Mu. In my previous life, he had waited until after her death to rebel. My spy reporting on Li Mo Bai informed me that he had secretly pledged allegiance to Princeton. I breathed a sigh of relief. Li Mo Bai hadn't disappointed me. Having tasted the flavor of power, how could he possibly be content to live out his days as a mere commoner? If he couldn't win the crown prince's favor, he could win Prince Anne's. No one understood better than he that Princeton would rebel a decade later, nearly breaching the imperial city. It was Li Mo Bai who risked his life, venturing alone into enemy territory to undermine the trust between Princeton and his military strategist, sowing discord and chaos within their ranks. This allowed the crown prince to lead his forces to annihilate them in one decisive blow. He was the chief architect of that reversal, a great hero to the people. Precisely because of this, no one questioned his testimony when he later accused my father. He even knelt outside the hall of diligent governance, banging his head until it bled profusely, pleading for my father's mercy. That our Nan family wasn't executed to the last man was also because he refused any reward. What a man of profound loyalty and righteousness. Who could have imagined he was one person in public and another behind closed doors? I never mentioned Prince Anne's rebellion to the crown prince. Without evidence, making baseless accusations against royalty would only turn the crown prince against me. Moreover, though Princeton was eccentric, he treated the crown prince with utmost devotion and had even saved his life. The crown prince, in turn, indulged this younger uncle whenever possible, never tolerating other slander. Li Mo Bai understood this well. He wasn't the least bit afraid I'd inform on him, he practically wished I would. What would unfold a decade later showed no signs of happening now. He was utterly confident that without his interference this lifetime, Princeton would surely succeed in his rebellion and ascend to the imperial throne. And as the one who helped him rise to power, Li Mo Bai would inevitably become the most powerful man in the empire, second only to the emperor. Though I didn't tell the crown prince, I told my father. I said I'd had a nightmare. My father dismissed it as my imagination running wild and didn't take it seriously. But when I predicted what would happen in the coming days, he grew cautious. After the Prince of An arrived in the capital, he followed his usual pattern. Under the guise of feasting and revelry, he cultivated friendships with numerous court officials. My father had a fondness for ancient paintings, so the prince presented him with one each year. This year's gift was Wang Guantian's landscape of rivers and mountains. In my past life, this very painting became the ironclad evidence of my father's collusion with Princeton. Hidden within the scroll rod of this expertly mounted painting was a letter from Princeton bribing my father. It hadn't been there originally. Li Mo Bai had seized it from Princeton during the chaos and secretly planted it inside. The painting was genuine. The letter was genuine. But the affair was fabricated. My father was left with no way to defend himself. This lifetime, with my forewarning, my father resolutely rejected Prince An's overtures. During the New Year's banquet at the palace, he forcibly sold the ancient paintings Prince An had previously gifted him to several other ministers who were connoisseurs of art. Every single coin of the proceeds was donated to the soldiers guarding the frontier. The emperor praised my father's noble character and selfless devotion to the people, declaring him a model for all officials. This compelled the other ministers to reluctantly contribute as well. Li Mo Bai observed every move made by the prime minister's household, yet he paid it no mind. What good would distancing himself from Prince An accomplish? Once Prince An ascended the throne, becoming second only to the emperor himself, what would it matter to settle accounts with a mere prime minister's household? In the first month of the new year, Jing Kai gave birth to a son. The moment he was born, Li Mo Bai handed him to Dang Rushing. Now, outwardly, his entire family depended on Dang Rushing. Without an official position or salary, he could only work as a laborer in Dang Rushing's shop. Jing Kai had to wash clothes for others to earn household money as soon as her confinement ended. Her fingers froze red and swollen, a world apart from her days as my maid. When I encountered her on the street, she wore thin clothes, no jewelry, and had grown noticeably thinner. Her complexion was sallow and haggard, her eyes dull and numb, hardly the look of a woman who'd just given birth. I invited her to dine at Drunken Immortal Pavilion. She ate until she nearly vomited, then collapsed over the table, sobbing. "Miss, I regret it. I shouldn't have pretended to be you to seduce him." Whispered voices drifted from the next room, though the soundproofing wasn't naturally this poor, I'd tampered with it. Her crying stopped abruptly. She recognized Li Mo Bai's voice. How could Li Mo Bai, now penniless, afford to dine at such an expensive restaurant? "Brother Li, you truly foresee everything. In such a short time, you've become the prince's confidant. This time, when returning to the fiefdom, the prince specifically instructed that your family accompany him. As you rise to greater heights, please don't forget your little brother." Li Mo Bai's triumphant laughter rang out deafeningly. "Certainly, certainly." After a pause, he added, "The journey to Anyang is long. My mother is advanced in years and unfit to travel. My wife will remain to care for her, so she won't be joining us." The other man immediately let out a lecherous chuckle. "In that case, Brother Li must need someone to attend to you. What sort of flower that understands speech does Brother Li favor? I can have the people in Anyang prepare in advance." Li Mo Bai pondered for a moment. "Do you recognize the eldest daughter of the Sui family?" "So Brother Li prefers that sort. The daughter of the Prime Minister's household would be acceptable too." "Understood, understood." What followed was the clinking of cups and glasses. Jing Kai's expression shifted from astonishment to delight, then to disappointment and anger, finally settling into despair. Her eyes, already devoid of light, grew even more lifeless. "Young lady, what should I do? What should I do?" she murmured to me. On the 12th day of the 3rd month, Prince An set out for Anyang. Half a month later, the prince's birth mother, Consort Mu of the palace, was poisoned to death. Investigations traced the crime to a palace maid in Consort Mu's service. After being subjected to the most severe punishment, the maid confessed she had been instructed by Mr. Wu, an associate of Prince An. This Mr. Wu, ostensibly a retainer in Prince An's service, was in reality his military strategist, held in the highest regard by the prince. Consort Mu had long been frail, confined to her sickbed for years, yet she stubbornly clung to life. Mr. Wu had waited patiently for many years, but his patience finally ran out. In his previous life, he had administered a slow-acting poison, taking a full 2 years to gradually snuff out Consort Mu's vitality. With the Dowager Consort Mu dead, Prince An felt no further restraint and raised his army in rebellion. But Li Mo Bai uncovered the truth and delivered a fatal blow to Prince An at the critical moment, turning Prince An and Mr. Wu against each other. In the past life, Mr. Wu had waited 7 or 8 years before acting. Li Mo Bai couldn't afford to wait that long. He moved ahead of schedule, also using a slow-acting poison. It would take about a year for the poison to take effect, but he had it replaced with a deadly toxin. Why would Prince An's retainers plot against their lord's birth mother? The Crown Prince's investigation eventually led to Li Mo Bai, revealing he had followed Prince into Anyang. His wife confessed that before departing, Li Mo Bai had entrusted her with an account book, instructing her to safeguard it carefully and promising imminent fortune. That ledger documented the Prince of An's financial dealings with officials throughout the court and the provinces. The sums involved were staggering. What else did the Crown Prince need to understand? He first secured control over the general of Jinwu, then dispatched men at full gallop, racing day and night to reach Anyang ahead of Prince An. There, they raided the prince's residence. They not only uncovered a privately made imperial dragon robe but also discovered he had been secretly training troops and stockpiling weapons. Irrefutable evidence of rebellion. Prince An and his entourage were apprehended en route and brought back to the capital. Li Mo Bai's dream of becoming second only to the emperor had barely begun to take root before I crushed it. He was far too confident. I may have lacked evidence, but I could frame him. The night before Li Mo Bai's execution, I visited him in prison. He leaned against the wall in confusion, banging his head against it repeatedly, muttering, "No, no. Where did it go wrong? It shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't." Seeing me, he showed little reaction. He gave a self-mocking humph and asked, "You came to laugh at me? I came to make sure you die with clarity." He snapped to attention, staring at me in disbelief. "It was you." Then he shook his head. "Impossible. You couldn't have known about that ledger. That ledger won't appear for another 10 years. In my past life, there was indeed such a ledger. After Prince An was executed, Li Mo Bai had secretly kept it, never turning it over. He intended to use it to control officials who had private dealings with Prince An, leveraging them for his own ends. Nor had he ever mentioned the cause of Empress Dowager Mu's death to me. "Nuan told me," I said, watching him calmly. "You used her as a stand-in, confiding everything to her, but she told me everything. The ledger was my fabrication. The day I returned, I transcribed its contents from memory of my past life, not word for word, but the gist was there." Li Mo Bai burst into laughter. "So it was like this. Like this. I was defeated by the woman I loved." He laughed until tears streamed down his face. I laughed too. "Don't insult Nuan. What right do you have to love her? And Jing K, you probably don't know this, but my plan went so smoothly thanks to her cooperation with me." "Jing K?" He roared with fury. "That bitch! What wrong did I do to her that she'd betray me like this? A mere maid married to the top scholar, what more could she possibly want? That bitch! Bring her to me. Make her face me." "She likely won't be coming," I said. For exposing the fraud, the Crown Prince spared her life. "She's already married to a wealthy merchant from another province and long gone. It's your poor old mother who's truly pitiful. She didn't even need the entire family executed, you drove her to her death." He froze, then erupted moments later, "You venomous bitch. Venomous bitch. My mother never wronged you, why did you kill her?" "I'll kill you." "What are you saying?" I countered. "You're the one who killed your own mother. You chose rebellion, what does that have to do with me?" He slumped powerlessly to the floor, eyes vacant, only 2 streams of murky tears flowing. I turned and took 2 steps away before glancing back. "Oh, I almost forgot, your adoptive father, Dang Reshing, is also one of my men." Half a year after Li Mo Bai's death, Zhao Xija and I were married. Immediately afterward, she sent me 10,000 taels of silver as a dowry gift, thanking me for saving her entire family. On our wedding night, he asked me, suppose, and I mean suppose, that Li Mo Bai had asked for your hand instead. Would you have accepted him? Without blushing or flinching, I lied, of course not. He's inferior to you in every way. Why would I choose him? Besides, I've known you've liked me since we were children. He flushed. Oh my, then why never did you tell me? Because my love only began when we were married. I asked him, why bring this up now? I had a dream. He kissed me. It scared the life out of me. Thankfully, it was just a dream. The story ends here. Thank you all for your company. See you in the next chapter.